Furthermore, the wine is priced by the cup and not by the flask. That manservant looked at Xiao Chen with some disdain. The 1,000-year flame was normally prepared for martial sages. Without a martial sage's status, one would not be able to afford it. The other Mo clan cultivators in the tavern all laughed, mocking Xiao Chen for being a country bumpkin who had not seen the world. However, when the manservant said that, Xiao Chen became even more interested. How much is one cup? 1,000 astral coins. Hey, that is not very expensive. Give me 10 cups. Huang dang. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand, and 100 black astral coins neatly landed on the table. Before the laughter of the others faded away, when they saw this scene, they could not help but goggle. Their smiles froze on their faces. Black astral coins. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen took out black astral coins. Furthermore, he did not even blink, directly taking out 100 black astral coins. That was 10,000 astral coins. 10,000 astral coins. To a martial monarch, this was a huge sum. An ordinary inferior-grade martial monarch would have to work hard for at least a month to save up such a sum. The manservant checked the black astral coins and carefully put them away. However, he rejoiced in his heart. The quality of the astral iron in black astral coins was much better than that of ordinary astral coins. For the sake of refining secret treasures, the Mo clan had to use astral coins to exchange for black astral coins at a high price every year. Xiao Chen handed over 100 black astral coins, which was considered a significant contribution within the clan. 10 cups of 1,000-year flame. They will be ready soon. Please wait a moment. The manservant moved very quickly. Soon, he carried a tray and placed 10 transparent purple crystal cups on the table. The wine in the cups was scarlet. There was not much wine in the cups. They looked like clumps of burning blood. Together with the glowing purple crystal cups, they gave off a dreamlike visual enjoyment. The purple crystal cups were similar to the goblets of Xiao Chen's previous life. However, they were more elegant and aloof. Did your clan's young miss design these cups as well? Xiao Chen asked. When talking about his clan's young miss, the manservant said proudly, "That is natural. You are lucky. Our clan's young miss is very talented. Be it brewing wine, refining secret treasures, zither, chess, calligraphy, painting, formations, medicine, or astrology, there is nothing she cannot do. You are very lucky to be able to buy this 1,000-year flame from the tavern of our purple cloud warship. If you went to another place, this cup of wine would be 10 times more expensive. Even if you had the money, you would not be able to drink it. 10 times more expensive? Wouldn't that mean that one cup of wine could sell for 1,000 black astral coins? This price shocked Xiao Chen somewhat. If he sold 10 cups of wine every day, that would be close to 4 million black astral coins a year. However, after thinking about it, he smiled to himself. This was somewhat unrealistic. The brewing of this wine was probably not a simple matter. There had to be some restrictions. Xiao Chen carefully sized up this wine. The wine was as scarlet as blood. However, it was very different from true blood and did not seem repulsive. It gave off an intoxicating feeling of redness, tender and alluring, causing one to be intoxicated. It was as delicate as clear water and as bright as blood. However, there seemed to be something else in the wine. Xiao Chen could not just drink it down like that. Xiao Chen picked up the wine cup and swirled the wine in it. Tiny specks of golden light floated up from the wine and quickly filled the cup. Boom! A golden flame soared up from the wine cup and turned into a legendary holy beast, the golden crow. It cried out in the air of the tavern and flew around. Interesting! Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. Then, he started tapping the table rhythmically with his fingers. The remaining 9 cups of 1,000-year flame also started swaying slowly. Bang! 9 flames soared out from the wine like a blazing sun. In an instant, a dazzling golden light lit up the dim tavern, making it seem like it was brightly lit. It was a great honor to have such a humble place lit up by such a bright light. 10 golden crows chased each other in the sky above the tavern, forming a miraculous scene of 10 connected suns. This magnificent scene stunned the others. Originally, these people were prepared to watch Xiao Chen make a fool of himself. The 1,000-year flame could not be drunk directly. He had to shake it for a while. Otherwise, if he drank it in one go, he would not be able to extinguish the fire in his body. However, his body would catch fire in that instant. His clothes, eyebrows, and hair would all be burned away, making a fool of himself. In the end, not only did Xiao Chen not make a fool of himself, but he even created a magnificent scene of 10 connected suns, so bright that everyone could not open their eyes. The golden crows turned into motes of sparks and slowly faded away. The tavern returned to normal. Xiao Chen, who was preparing to drink, looked at the sky and frowned. Then, he quietly withdrew his left hand from the table and spread it out. A weak suction came from it. Without anyone noticing, all the scattered motes of sparks in the air gathered together. "Friend, this wine is ready to drink already," that waiter smiled somewhat embarrassedly. Clearly, he worried that Xiao Chen would blame him, so he did not remind him. When all the sparks gathered, a resplendent golden light appeared on Xiao Chen's left hand. In that instant, he clenched his fist tightly, not letting any light leak out. "Ao Jiao, it looks like this Mo clan's young miss is not just pretty. Why do you care so much? Quickly drink. Just looking at this 1,000-year flame makes me want to drink it. Quickly drink. Quickly drink. Tell me what it tastes like," Ao Jiao urged as she stared at the wine cup. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and helplessly. "That's fine, I'll drink first." Chapter 10:21. Xiao Chen really wanted to know what this wine called the 1,000-year flame tasted like as well. Xiao Chen picked up the wine cup and drained it in one gulp. Compared to its fiery name, this wine felt extremely cool when it entered his mouth. An icy chill instantly spread throughout his body. From the inside out, it felt like his body had fallen into an ice cave. This extreme change stimulated his entire body and made him tremble. The cold was too strong, covering up the wine's taste at first. Just as one was about to forget it, the wine's taste slowly permeated the body. The intoxicating fragrance was like a clump of gentle fire, slowly pushing its way into Xiao Chen's body, slowly dispelling the bone-chilling cold. The fire was neither fast nor slow as it slowly dispelled the cold. Together with the intoxicating wine fragrance, it slowly conquered the cultivator's heart. This was an extreme enjoyment. Xiao Chen could not help leaning back in his chair in satisfaction. Then, he held the dreamy purple crystal cup in his right hand and closed his eyes. As the ice and fire clashed, time seemed to move extremely slowly. When the cold qi was completely dispelled, his body felt like it had been ignited by the flame, reaching the peak of enjoyment. 1,000-year flame. This clump of flame truly burned for 1,000 years without extinguishing. The instant the cold qi was completely dispelled, it reached great heights, reaching the peak. The flame was ferocious, and the after-effects of the wine burst forth. Xiao Chen felt boundlessly carefree. His sweat soaked through his clothes. This was practically a perfect cup of wine. In this half-drunken, half-awake state, Xiao Chen discovered that the will of ice in his sea of consciousness had silently strengthened. It was like it had undergone some kind of tempering, improving significantly. The cold qi spread in his sea of consciousness, allowing him to maintain a trace of consciousness and not fall over from the after-effects. Great wine. The 1,000-year flame truly lives up to its name. Xiao Chen could not help blurting this out when he opened his eyes. The intoxicating red on his face made him blush involuntarily. The manservant smiled and said, "Haha, that is natural. My clan's young miss personally brewed this 1,000-year flame. Even if others knew the method, they would not be able to brew it. Indeed, without her conditions, even the most incredible master brewer would be helpless," Xiao Chen thought to himself. Xiao Chen raised his head and glanced at the manservant. Then, he looked at the remaining 9 cups of 1,000-year flame on the table. He could not help but laugh helplessly. The manservant was clearly tricking him. If a normal person drank 1 cup, they would be drunk. If they drank 3 cups in a row, they could be considered a man. If they drank 10 cups in a row, he reckoned that even a great grandmaster would collapse. When the Lu clan's first elder saw Lu Feng's clearly dented chest, his face could not help but twitch. This person is too ruthless. If the first elder had not stopped and used more force, he would have trampled Lu Feng to death. Do you really think that I am an idiot? Cut the crap. When we are near Starry Cloud Island, I will naturally let go of this trash. The four of you, scram immediately. Chapter 1025. Xiao Chen did not give the Lu clan elders any time to think. He said coldly, I will count to 3, and you will immediately disappear. If you do not believe me, you can bet with me. Let's see whether I dare to trample this trash to death or not. 1, 2. Let's go. Seeing Lu Feng's face contorted in pain and Xiao Chen's incomparably domineering attitude from the very start, the Lu clan elders did not dare to gamble. From the moment Xiao Chen appeared until now, no more than 15 minutes had passed. The Lu clan experts, even the Grandmaster-level martial sage, withdrew with just a few words from him. Such a scene dumbfounded not only the Mo clan cultivators on the deck but also Mo Chen, who was in the control room. Glancing at the unconscious Uncle Wang, Xiao Chen tossed out a bottle of sage-grade healing medicine and said, let him consume it. Otherwise, if this drags on, it might turn into a stubborn disease. As the purple warship advanced, the Lu clan's 4 elders chased anxiously on the water. All of them showed anxious expressions, but they could not do anything. After half a day, 3 large warships with the Mo clan's banner appeared at the limits of the group's vision. The Mo clan's reinforcements had arrived. Xiao Chen raised his foot and kicked Lu Feng, who was in so much pain that he was on the verge of death, into the air. The Lu clan old man quickly reached out and caught Lu Feng. When he saw the Mo clan's warship in the distance, he knew that the operation had failed and that he could not remain here for long. Might I ask for this friend's great name? The Lu clan's first elder asked in a quivering voice, a murderous intent surging in his eyes. Xiao Chen smiled and said, I, Wen Xiren, will never change my name. If you have any grudges, just take it out on me, Wen Xiren. Since he could not use the alias Yi Chen in the heavenly starry ocean, Xiao Chen could only think of a random name. Good. Wen Xiren, we'll wait and see. The Lu clan's first elder snorted coldly and quickly led the others away. Brother Xiren. Sorry. Xiao Chen smiled to himself. 1 Grandmaster-level martial sage and 3 superior-grade martial sages were forced back by Xiao Chen alone. They did not dare to get angry. The Mo clan cultivators felt extremely satisfied. This was especially so for Lu Feng, who was squealing like a dead pig when Xiao Chen stepped on him, feeling extremely pleased. Seeing that the Mo clan's 3 ships were about to leave, Xiao Chen didn't want to have too much contact with people, so he turned around and walked towards the cabin. Thank you, young Master Wen. I have wronged you for the past few days. Behind him, Uncle Wang, who had woken up with the help of the sage-grade healing medicine, apologized to Xiao Chen after he heard everyone's explanation. It's just a small matter. Old Wang, you don't have to be so polite. You're injured, so it's better for you to speak less. Xiao Chen stopped and replied. Then, he continued on his way. When night fell, Xiao Chen opened his eyes from his cultivation. The magic power in his sea of consciousness was recovering bit by bit. His will of thunder had recovered somewhat. It was no longer as indistinct as before, unable to circulate at all. Xiao Chen's overall strength was recovering in an orderly fashion. The only problem was that his heavenly sage law's origin was shattered, causing him to remain stuck at martial monarch. The refinement of the heavenly origin pill was urgent. As long as Xiao Chen could reassemble his origin, his strength would instantly recover. His cultivation was still there. It was not that his cultivation had fallen. It was just that his origin was shattered, preventing him from using his heavenly sage laws. Once Xiao Chen's origin was reassembled, he might be able to comprehend the mysteries of the manifestation of heavenly sage laws. Xiao Chen stretched his legs and spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. Then, he planned to go out for a walk. The changes of the day had already returned to normal. The purple warship had recovered to its original state. Xiao Chen walked to the bow. The deck was cold and quiet. There was no one on it. The waning moon hung alone, and the sky was filled with stars, glistening brightly. This night was very beautiful, and the stars were even more beautiful. Only the moon shone with a pale white light, covered by the starlight. It looked lonely, ethereal, and cold. As Xiao Chen looked at the distant moon, he felt excited. He felt like he was like this moon, far away from the many stars, walking alone on the lonely path of the martial Tao. It was like the will of the heavens. At this moment, Xiao Chen was like this pale moon, dim and lightless. He did not even dare to go to his conferred land. Xiao Chen was the Blue Dragon King, the descendant of the Qing Emperor, the one who swept through all the outstanding talents of the younger generation of the Kunlun continent. However, during the day, Xiao Chen had needed to threaten a grandmaster-level martial sage. If it were in the past, such a person would not even dare to speak loudly in front of him. "Young Master One, are you admiring the moon?" A clear and exquisite voice rang out. At some point in time, the Mo clan's young miss had appeared. Xiao Chen turned around and said, "Strange. There are so many stars in the sky. So resplendent. Why do you think that I am admiring the moon?" Mo Chen smiled faintly and said, "In that case, it looks like Mo Chen guessed wrong. I am willing to admit defeat for what happened during the day. If young Master One has any requests, you can state them. I need to borrow Miss Mo's solar true flame for half a year. I will return it to you after that." Shock flashed in Mo Chen's eyes. However, she quickly calmed down and said, "I do indeed have the solar true flame. It is not a problem to lend it to young Master One for half a year. However, may I ask about young Master Wen's true identity?" Xiao Chen replied indifferently, "My identity is Mrs. Bodyguard. For 1 year in the Cloud Sea domain, I will be Mrs. Bodyguard. With me around, no one can harm you." "You are bragging." The city lord of Shattered Cloud City squeezes the Mo clan every year, using all sorts of reasons to demand a set of peak sage-grade secret treasures. If I do not agree, my life will be in danger. You will be able to protect me. The 7 seas of the Cloud Sea domain were like 7 rank 8 sections. The city lord of each sea was at least as strong as the blue-robed emperor. Xiao Chen smiled and did not say anything. He only made a mental note of what Mo Chen said. Under the veil, Mo Chen laughed softly. "Haha, you are still as arrogant as before. However, don't worry. I will not offend such a strong enemy. 2 months from now, a treasure mountain at the bottom of the Cloud Sea domain will rise from the water. At that time, I would like you to accompany me as my bodyguard." "Treasure mountain at the bottom of the sea?" Mo Chen nodded and said, "That is the mountain of the Firely sect, an ancient sect. Legend has it that the Firely sect invented the secret treasures. Today's refining methods are all derived from this sect. Because it is located at the bottom of the sea, a deep abyss that no one can reach, aside from the Firely sect's remnants, there are natural treasures everywhere. Herb kings that are more than 10,000 years old and rare divine materials can be found there. The people of the Cloud Sea domain have always called it a treasure mountain. I am entering this time to find the Firely sect's supreme divine canon, the Book of Heavenly Works, so that the Mo clan will no longer be controlled by others." Firely sect. When Xiao Chen heard this, he was stunned. When he was in the lower realm, he had visited a branch of the Firely sect's remnants. He had obtained the Dragon Phoenix Cauldron in his body at that time. Several memories flooded his mind. Duan Muking, Chu Chaoyun, Hua Yunfei, Ji Chongkong, and that person with an incredible body tempering technique. Now that 10 years had passed, these names aside from Chu Chaoyun were like smoke in the past, vanishing like smoke, never to appear again. Just like the countless stars in the sky, there was no end to them. As they flickered, it was unknown how many stars would shatter and disappear every minute. Only he was like the moon hanging high in the sky, watching the resplendent stars and the withering stars. Only the moon existed. Only he existed. In the next 10 years, how many stars would disappear and how many new stars would rise? Would he still exist like the moon? "What's wrong?" Mo Chen suddenly asked when she discovered a rare confusion on Xiao Chen's face. Xiao Chen recovered his wits and changed the topic. "Why did you choose me? With your charm, those outstanding talents of the Southern Sea will not reject this invitation." It would be strange if she was in a good mood if she just gave it to someone else. Given Mo Chen's talent, Starry Cloud Island's Mo clan truly limited her development. Shattered Cloud City demanded resources like this every year. Aside from maintaining the clan's development, there was not much left for Mo Chen. If Mo Chen were in a large sect, given her talent and beauty, she would be able to obtain countless resources. Her accomplishments would be many times greater than what she was now. Unfortunately, the Mo clan seemed to be relying on Mo Chen alone. If she left, the Mo clan would definitely be swallowed up in this world where the strong preyed on the weak. Is that Miss Mo Chen in front? A large black ship descended behind the two. A flag fluttered on the bow of the ship, with a flamboyant ancient character written on it. A person with a sword at his waist stood below the flag. His clothes fluttered in the wind, giving him an elegant air as he called out to Mo Chen. Broken Cloud City's young city lord, Jianghu. When Mo Chen saw this person, she frowned slightly and whispered his identity. Xiao Chen looked carefully and discovered that this person's cultivation was passable, a superior grade martial sage. Based on this person's appearance, he looked to be about 30 years old. Such talent could barely be considered first-rate in the Kunlun continent. Chapter 1027. Hee, it really is Miss Mo Chen. I didn't expect to bump into you here. Since we've bumped into each other, come up and have a seat. Another person appeared beside Jianghu. It was a man who was about the same age as Jianghu and wore luxurious clothes, and he gave a faint smile. However, when his gaze lingered on Mo Chen's delicate body, there was an obscure evil light in his eyes. With one look, it was clear that he was not a good person. Separated Cloud City's young city lord, Shi Feng. The two young city lords of the Broken Cloud Sea and the Separated Cloud Sea had also come to Shattered Cloud City. The two of them were outstanding talents of the younger generation in the Cloud Sea domain. Their fathers were both blue-robed emperor cultivators. They were influential people in the entire Cloud Sea domain, extremely strong. Mo Chen did not feel happy in her heart. She rejected, Mo Chen has matters to attend to. I can only apologize for your invitation. With that, he turned around and left. Shi Feng's face turned stiff, and the attendant beside him immediately understood. He jumped down from the bow of the ship and blocked the path of the two. Miss Mo Chen, my young city lord is only inviting you up for a drink and a chat. There is no need to reject him so decisively. This person was about 50 years old and a medial-grade martial sage. He stood in front of the two and stretched out his hand to block the way. Didn't you hear my young miss say that she has something important to attend to? Xiao Chen was unhappy in his heart. He was in a hurry to purchase the key ingredients for the Heavenly Origin pill, so he did not have the time to waste here. Do you have the right to speak? When the attendant saw that Xiao Chen was merely a martial monarch, yet he dared to point fingers at him, he immediately became angry and took 3 steps forward. With every step he took, huge waves would rise on the surface of the sea, startling the surroundings. As he walked, he used an extremely ingenious footwork. Although it was only 3 steps, it was extremely nimble. His figure turned illusory, moving like a phantom. Then, he swung his hand down like an eagle hunting its prey, wanting to claw Xiao Chen's brains out. 9 roaming dragon transformations. Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and his figure also began to change. 9 real and fake figures, with different expressions and movements. Compared to the ghostly footwork, it was even harder to distinguish the real from the fake. That attendant could not help but be at a loss, not knowing where to start. Although he could not see through Xiao Chen's movement technique, it did not mean that Xiao Chen could not see through him. The 9 figures suddenly merged into one and punched. An azure dragon head formed on his fist. This was the dragon claw fist that he had not used in a long time. The dragon roared and struck the follower's chest, sending him flying far away, not giving him a chance to get up again. Xiao Chen's left hand turned into a claw and connected its head to its tail. An azure dragon formed from pure vital qi flew out and knocked the servant away again. Excuse me, young Master Shi. Mo Chen indeed has important matters to attend to. Farewell. Xiao Chen does have. Mo Xiao, T to say this. Mo to Xiao too. T to say. Xiao. It to jai with T. It. She. He. Gu Chen T jit. T to Mo Chen. Mo to. T think. Mo Chen. Jianghu smiled and said, It's just a woman, Brother Shi. There's no need to be so angry. Can I not be angry? Who do you think I am? I am the city lord of separated Cloud City. I invited her several times, but she rejected me every time. This time, she even touched my servant. Shi Feng cursed with a murderous expression. Gu Jianghu did not reply. He asked, "Who is that person beside her?" His cultivation is not high, but his physical body and vital qi are shockingly strong. He does not look like a Mo clan cultivator. Shi Feng said coldly, "This person is very bold. He even dares to make a move on my Shi clan's people." Gu Jianghu said sullenly, "Let's stop here for now. This time, we 8 young city lords are gathering in Shattered Cloud City to discuss the trip to the Treasure Mountain. We cannot be late." When Shi Feng heard about the trip to the Treasure Mountain, he calmed down from his rage. He only stared at Xiao Chen's back, the murderous intent in his eyes never fading. As Xiao Chen watched Mo Chen walk in front without saying a word, he felt sorrowful in his heart. Sometimes, being too beautiful was a problem. Xiao Chen could not see what Mo Chen looked like because she wore a veil. However, when he looked at her silhouette, her exquisite figure, her eyes that looked like stars and gems, her smooth, fair skin, and the fact that these outstanding talents of the Cloud Sea domain chased after her, without a doubt, she was a beauty. However, in this Cloud Sea domain where the strong preyed on the weak, without the protection of a clan, such a beauty would only bring disaster. It must have been very difficult for her to persevere all these years. Shi Feng and Gu Jianghu entered the Cloud Sea domain on a boat without any obstructions. Instead, they arrived at the city lord's residence ahead of Mo Chen. 6 people had already arrived in the Great Hall of the city lord's residence long ago. These 6 people all had extraordinary appearances and arrogant expressions. They were all superior-grade martial sages. In the Cloud Sea domain, they indeed had the right to be proud of having such a cultivation at such a young age. The one sitting in the middle was the young city lord of Shattered Cloud City. His father ruled the Shattered Cloud Sea and was the blue-robed emperor. The others also had extraordinary backgrounds, no weaker than the young city lords of the other cities of the Cloud Sea domain. When Shi Feng and Gu Jianghu arrived, the young city lords of the 8 great cities of the Cloud Sea domain all gathered. Wang Ju, the young city lord of Shattered Cloud City, stood up to welcome them. He smiled and said, "Brother Shi, Brother Gu, why are you so late?" Shi Feng replied unhappily, "I ran into some trouble along the way. If not for giving face to Brother Wang, I would have fallen out with you on the spot." Wang Ju's expression changed slightly. The others also revealed interested expressions as they quickly asked about the reason. Shi Feng added fuel to the fire, telling them about his encounter with Mo Chen along the way. This Mo Chen really thinks that she is the Golden Phoenix. She is just managing a mere rank 6 clan, yet she dares to show me attitude and even let her subordinate attack my people. At this point, Shi Feng paused for a moment. Then, he glanced at Wang Ju and said, "Brother Wang, I know that you have always been interested in this girl. So, I gave you face this time and did not lose my temper. However, this time, we went to the Treasure Mountain together to seek fortuitous encounters. No matter what, you have to compensate me for my losses." Frost Cloud City's young city lord, Meng Xingwen, smiled in agreement and said, "We have noble statuses. We can destroy a rank 6 clan with the flip of a hand in the Cloud Sea domain. This Mo Chen is indeed somewhat outrageous. She even dares to attack Brother Shi's subordinate. This is indeed outrageous. We should teach this Mo Chen a lesson. Brother Wang Ju, you can't shield her anymore." The others thought of something and took advantage of the opportunity to apply pressure as well. These people had been drooling over Mo Chen's beauty and unique refining skills for a long time. However, she was in the Shattered Cloud Sea, so they did not dare to use force. Furthermore, they could not rely on their charm to win her heart. In the end, they would still benefit Wang Ju. Naturally, the other 7 felt upset. These people held noble statuses in the Cloud Sea domain, calling the wind and summoning the rain. They were like local tyrants, used to being arrogant and despotic. Mo Chen had worn out their patience long ago. If not for Wang Ju, they would have used other evil methods long ago. Wang Ju's expression changed. Soon, he smiled and said, "I understand what you all are thinking. There is no need to affect our relationship for a woman. Honestly speaking, I have worn out my patience as well. Wang Ju's plan all along was to obtain both the woman and the wealth. He wanted to use his charm to subdue the other party. Not only would he obtain the Mo clan's refining skills, but he would also obtain her heart. However, after working hard for so many years, there was no effect. Now that the others were making things difficult for him, he decided to go with the flow. He could not be bothered to continue. Shifeng's eyes lit up. He had not expected his casual words to have such a miraculous effect. He said, "In that case, Brother Wang, what do you want to do?" "What do I want to do?" Wang Ju smiled coldly and said, "Soon, she will come to the city lord's residence to deliver a set of secret treasures to me. At that time, I will give her one last chance. If she does not agree, I will directly capture her. I will not have any objections to what you all do." Ha ha ha. Shifeng laughed loudly and said, "Brother Wang is really generous. This Chen deserves it. Brother Wang's status is the highest, and you have such deep feelings for her. However, she rejected the face I gave her. She is just asking for it." Wang Ju sat down and took a sip of tea. Let's continue our earlier topic. The treasure mountain is filled with danger. Not only are there many demonic beasts, but there are also many combat puppets refined by the Firely sect, traps, formations, and restrictions. Our 8 clans can only obtain the greatest benefits by working together. The 2 great merchant associations of the Cloud Sea domain will definitely send people over. Also, some of the old fellows of the Cloud Sea domain will be tempted. These are not the most worrying things. I'm just afraid that people from the Southern Sea and the Northern Sea will come as well. It's fine. A small place like the Cloud Sea domain will not attract the attention of those people. Even if they come, so what? A strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its territory. With our 8 clans working together, they will have to think twice. The 8 discussed with each other, studying the various variables of the trip to the treasure mountain. Outside the city lord's residence, Xiao Chen and Mo Chen entered together. However, when Xiao Chen entered, a guard stopped him. The young city lord has ordered that only Miss Mo Chen is allowed to enter. Unrelated people are not allowed to enter the city lord's residence. The guard at the door said to Xiao Chen coldly and arrogantly with a cold and arrogant expression. Xiao Chen frowned slightly, not liking the other party's tone. "Never mind. Young Master One, go to the herb store in the city first. I'll meet up with you later," Mo Chen advised softly under the veil. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "In that case, be careful." Mo Chen smiled faintly and said, "Haha, it's fine. I've been to this city lord's residence several times before. It is not a den of wolves or tigers. Just wait for me." Seeing Mo Chen enter the city lord's residence, Xiao Chen had a bad feeling. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen turned and left. He had left a strand of spiritual sense on Mo Chen. As long as she was in danger, he could rush over immediately. Although the two had a cooperative relationship, they did not have much of a friendship. However, Xiao Chen was a man of his word. Since he agreed to be Mo Chen's bodyguard for 1 year, he would definitely ensure Mo Chen's safety for that year. Hopefully, nothing happened. The city lord's residence was filled with experts. With Xiao Chen's current strength, it would be difficult for him to barge in. However, if something really happened, even if the blue-robed emperor came out of closed-door cultivation, Xiao Chen would bring Mo Chen out without hesitation. The largest herb store in Shattered Cloud City was called Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion. Cultivators needed to use medicine when they got injured, to cultivate, and to break through bottlenecks. They also needed assistance. No matter where, the business of a herb store would never be slow. A large city like Shattered Cloud City was no exception. Rivers crisscrossed the city, waterways crisscrossed, and lakes formed clusters. Xiao Chen called over a small boat and paid some astral coins. The boatman set off, carrying Xiao Chen to Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Chen took another 10 steps, punching out with every 3 steps, killing one person with each punch. The last punch was unstoppable, killing 3 people with each step. By the time the Grandmaster-level martial sages of the City Lord's residence arrived, Xiao Chen had already killed the 8 young City Lords, leaving only Wang Ju. All this happened in the time it took for a spark to fly. Xiao Chen had only taken 10 steps, and of the 7 young City Lords fleeing for their lives, only Wang Ju remained. The surrounding cultivators were so horrified that they could not speak. Many of them revealed fear in their eyes as they looked at Xiao Chen. What kind of rage made this person dare to make a move in the City Lord's residence? What kind of confidence made him dare to kill the young City Lords of the Cloud Sea domain, who were like the crown princes of the mundane world? A dragon roared, and the aura of kingship surged out. Xiao Chen remained expressionless as his figure flickered, continuing to chase Wang Ju. However, at this moment, the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages had already arrived. After such a great burst of vital qi, Xiao Chen did not have much left. Once Xiao Chen ran out of vital qi, he would be like a child before a Grandmaster-level martial sage with his quintessence. No matter how strong his physical body was, he would be beaten to death. However, Xiao Chen's gaze turned sullen. He continued to stare at Wang Ju, showing no intention of stopping. "You still dare to make a move?" The 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages snorted coldly and attacked together. Circles of perfect heavenly sage laws appeared behind them. As they breathed, they could absorb a boundless amount of spiritual energy. As expected, the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages executed killing moves, showing no intention of holding back. Even if a Grandmaster-level martial sage were here, he would be severely injured by the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages. When the Grandmaster-level martial sages arrived, Wang Ju released his bated breath. He turned around and stood behind the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages. Then he looked coldly at Xiao Chen and said, "Severely injure him. I do not want him to die. I want to torture him for 100 years, 1,000 years. I want him to know the consequences of what he did today." Right now, Xiao Chen was only a martial monarch. It would be impossible for him to break out of this. Xiao Chen could only use his remaining vital qi to defend and see if he could escape unscathed. However, Wang Ju was not dead yet. The rage in Xiao Chen's heart could not be quenched. Even if he had to use his palm, he had to kill Wang Ju here today. "I will not let this matter rest." With a wave of his right hand, Xiao Chen quickly took out the cycle banner from the universe ring. When the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages' killing moves arrived, he shook his wrist and unfurled the cycle banner. Massacre, death, and ruin. The 3 colors of starlight intersected, filling the sky with starlight. The words, kill, ruin, and death, came from the astral banner. Although Xiao Chen's magic energy had not returned to its peak, he could still use the cycle banner to block the killing moves of these 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages. Starlight burst out, and the killing moves of the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages clashed with the 3 simple words, giving off an intense sound. Blood leaked out of a corner of Xiao Chen's mouth as he watched the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages get knocked back. Then he looked coldly at the stunned Wang Ju. Wang Ju could not help but despair in his heart. His father, who had the cultivation of the blue-robed emperor, and the vice-city lord, who was a great Grandmaster-level martial sage, had gone to a forbidden sea to search for treasures. At this moment, there was no one in the city lord's residence who could block this person. When Wang Ju saw Xiao Chen charging over with the might of 5 dragons, he clenched his teeth and circulated all the quintessence in his body, trying to do his best to block Xiao Chen's strike. However, Wang Ju knew that he did not have much confidence. 25,000 tons of force was equivalent to the full power of an ordinary Grandmaster-level martial sage. Right now, he was only a superior-grade martial sage. The difference was too great. When the punch arrived, Wang Ju's protective heavenly laws shattered. He immediately suffered severe injuries. Wang Ju rejoiced in his heart as the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages charged over again. This earlier punch was clearly the last of Xiao Chen's vital qi. As long as Xiao Chen retreated, he would be able to keep his life. Puxia. However, Xiao Chen did not retreat at all. He flipped his hand and thrust the tip of the cycle banner forward, piercing Wang Ju's chest. Wang Ju's heart instantly shattered, and he died on the spot. However, it was too late for Wang Ju to retreat now. The attacks of the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages struck his chest at the same time, knocking him back. He vomited blood, and his complexion paled significantly. The young city lord is dead. The 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages looked at the lifeless Wang Ju on the ground. The murderous intent on their faces intensified as they chased after Xiao Chen, who was knocked back. Xiao Chen somersaulted in the air and unfurled the freedom wings. His speed suddenly increased. When he passed by Emo Chen, he shouted, "Stretch out your hand." Emo Chen stretched out her right hand in a daze. Xiao Chen, who was flying past, pulled her into his embrace and quickly flew out of the city lord's residence. At this moment, Xiao Chen's vital qi was exhausted. He had to maintain the freedom wings with his magic energy. If he relied on his quintessence as a martial monarch, he would not be able to fight against the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages behind him. However, Xiao Chen was not in a rush. He still had the Qing Emperor's saber light that he had not used yet. If necessary, he could possess Ao Jiao. However, he was not at his wit's end yet. If he could avoid using these trump cards, it would be best not to. As the surrounding cultivators watched Xiao Chen unfurl the freedom wings and fly away after killing the people, their hearts surged endlessly like waves on the sea. The 8 young city lords of the Cloud Sea domain died just like that in the disorderly city lord's residence. After this day, the entire Cloud Sea domain would probably be stirred up. The name of the mysterious man beside Emo Chen would definitely spread throughout the entire Cloud Sea domain. For so many years, the city lords had been like the heavens in the Cloud Sea domain. No one dared to go against them. Today, a youth who was only a martial monarch killed all 8 city lords, not leaving a single one alive. Furthermore, Xiao Chen did it in the heavily guarded city lord's residence, which was filled with experts. The young city lords died before the eyes of 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages. These 3 people chased after Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was carrying a person, and his magic energy had not completely recovered yet. Furthermore, other cultivators occasionally appeared to block him. He could not truly shake off these 3 people. "Young Master Wen, just put me down. You helped me take revenge." "Emo Chen already has no regrets," Emo Chen said sullenly as she lay in Xiao Chen's embrace. Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Since I am your bodyguard, I will definitely ensure your safety for 1 year. Think about the Mo clan. If you die, what will they do? It's fine. When they find out about me, they will definitely leave on their own. I knew that this day would come long ago, so I already made preparations." However, Xiao Chen did not say anything more to Emo Chen. He only hugged her even tighter, afraid that she would struggle free on her own. Pursuing relentlessly, Xiao Chen felt the magic energy in his sea of consciousness diminish. He glanced at the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages and sighed helplessly. Then, he prepared to call out Ao Jiao. If Ao Jiao possessed him and used the Thunder King's consummate technique, his identity and whereabouts would probably be exposed, just like the scene at the King conferral ceremony. Just at this moment, a group of black-clad men charged out of the city. The person leading them had a high cultivation, a Grandmaster-level martial sage. The others were all martial sages as well. Before Xiao Chen's shocked gaze, he made a move to help block the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages behind. "Young Master One, come with me," one of the black-clad men said quickly without stepping forward. Xiao Chen could tell that it was the manager of the medicinal cauldron pavilion. After hesitating for a while, he followed. Although the group of black-clad men could not defeat the 3 Grandmaster-level martial sages, they had no problem delaying them. Xiao Chen put away the freedom wings. Together with the manager of the medicinal cauldron pavilion, they made many turns. Soon, they avoided the eyes and ears of the city lord's residents and their pursuers. Then, they entered an unremarkable courtyard. Then, they used the tunnel to enter the back hall of the medicinal cauldron pavilion. The black-clad man leading the way removed his mask. Indeed, it was the manager of the medicinal cauldron pavilion. The manager smiled gently and said, "Young Master One, now that we are here, even if the city lord of Shattered Cloud City returns, this will be a safe place." Xiao Chen put down Emo Chen and casually looked around. Then, he looked at the manager and said, "Many thanks to the manager for helping out this time." Chapter 1031. The manager smiled mysteriously and shook his head. "There is no need to thank me. The one who decided to save young Master Wen was the young master of our 9 Cauldron Merchant Association. 9 tripod commerce? When Mo Chen heard these words, she whispered to Xiao Chen, "The 9 Cauldron Merchant Association is one of the 2 great merchant associations of our Cloud Sea domain. Their influence covers the entire Cloud Sea domain. The blue-robed emperor is also in the Merchant Association. I heard that the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association is just a branch of the Heavenly Starry Ocean's 9 Cauldron Pavilion. The 9 Cauldron Pavilion is one of the largest merchant associations in the entire Heavenly Starry Ocean. However, I do not know whether this is true or not." After receiving Mo Chen's voice transmission, Xiao Chen raised his guard. If the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association was really a branch of the 9 Cauldron Pavilion, they probably already knew that Neptune's old subordinates were searching the world for the Blue Dragon King, suddenly risking her life to save him. Could it be related to this? However, on the surface, Xiao Chen's expression did not change. He cupped his hands together and said, "No matter what, it was the 9 Cauldron Chamber of Commerce that helped me out of my predicament this time. I cannot reject this favor." Haha, young master one really knows how to joke. Even if we didn't do anything, it wouldn't be difficult for them to escape. After all, the city lord of Shattered Cloud City isn't here. It's just a small favor. A hearty laughter rang out from outside the room. A handsome young man, who exuded the aura of a worldly merchant, leisurely walked into the room. The manager quickly introduced, "Young Master One, this is the young master of our 9 Cauldron Merchant Association, Mu Qing Han. Young master, this is the young master one that I told you about." Mu Qing Han stepped forward and smiled warmly. "One Xiren, I have never heard of this name before in the Cloud Sea domain. I don't think I have heard of him in the Southern Sea or the Northern Sea, either. Where is Brother One from? Can you tell me? I'm very curious about this." Xiao Chen pondered in his heart. Generally speaking, when strangers meet, if they don't introduce themselves, they will not be able to recognize each other. They knew how to avoid it and not ask about each other's origins out of curiosity. This was the rule of the Jianghu outside. Otherwise, it was very likely to cause the other party to be displeased. Even if he were to ask, it would be a slight probe instead of a direct question. Based on Mu Qinghan's appearance, he did not look like someone without experience. He would definitely know this rule. Could it be that there was a deeper meaning behind the other party's actions? Thinking about it, the other party had risked his life to save him. Chapter 1032. The manager spoke tirelessly. His tone was filled with respect and admiration for this mysterious Blue Dragon King. In this age of geniuses, Xiao Chen's experiences were like legends, living out a legend. Even in the Cloud Sea domain, people of the upper echelon like them had heard of the Blue Dragon King. Mu Qinghan revealed a look of yearning in his eyes. Then he said with some disappointment, "Such a person is not someone we can come into contact with. However, after this matter is over, if I can leave this Cloud Sea domain, I might be able to make it to the center of the Heavenly Starry Ocean." The Cloud Sea domain was not very eye-catching on the sea maps of the Heavenly Starry Ocean. There were 10 more such sea domains between the Southern Sea and the Northern Sea. It was indeed a small place, extremely ordinary. Mu Qinghan was right. Few people would notice this place. In the end, Mu Qinghan revealed an extremely resolute expression. He asked seriously, "How is the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion doing? Do you know that they are looking for a few elite disciples from Zodiac Hall?" The manager shook his head and replied, "I'm not sure. They kept it a secret very well. It looks like they do know how to enter the Firely Sect's 10,000 Treasure Pavilion from the Treasure Mountain." The 10,000 Treasure Pavilion was the treasury that the Firely Sect used to store secret treasures. There were many secret treasures refined by the Firely Sect. These were all excellent king-grade secret treasures, and there was a horrifying number of them. Many of them were powerful secret treasures that could not be refined with current refining methods. However, after so many years, the trip to the Treasure Mountain had attracted countless experts. No one could find the location of the 10,000 Treasure Pavilion. Whether such a place even existed was a mystery. Without the 10,000 Treasure Pavilion, the attraction of the Treasure Mountain to Emperor Wu decreased significantly. However, to experts below Emperor Wu, it still held a strong attraction. Not to mention the various treasures, secret manuals, and ancient cultivation techniques in the fiery sect remnant. Just the various natural treasures growing on the treasure mountain were enough to attract many cultivators to risk their lives. The treasure mountain did not appear normally. It was in the heart of the ocean, deep in the ocean. Even Emperor Wu did not dare to enter that place. The heart of the ocean was the most mysterious place in the entire ocean world. Even Emperor Wu could only sneak around the edges. However, the spiritual qi in that place was extremely abundant, so much so that even time could be changed inside. It was rumored that 100 years inside was equivalent to 10,000 years in the outside world. Although it was just a rumor, looking at the 10,000-year-old spirit herbs on the treasure mountain, there would always be other 10,000-year-old spirit herbs appearing the next time. This added a lot of credibility to the rumor. 100 years was 10,000 years, a year was 100 years, and a month was 10 years. Mu Qinghan revealed a sullen expression. After a while he said, "Never mind. It looks like they know the importance of the 10,000 treasure pavilion and know that the news cannot be leaked. Otherwise, if the city lords found out, we would not even have any scraps to drink. Then, should I inform Wenziren now? After all, we still don't know if he will go with us and cooperate with us." The head shopkeeper asked. Mu Qinghan waved his hand and said, "There is no need for now. He will definitely agree. He cannot resist the temptation of the 10,000 treasure tower. If not for the fact that the 10,000 treasure tower invited an expert from Zodiac Hall, I really would not be willing to share with him. With one more person working together, he would definitely obtain fewer treasures. Fortunately, there were plenty of treasures in the 10,000 treasure pavilion. With another person, the benefits would be significant as well. In 2 days, Xiao Chen and Mo Chen's injuries had mostly recovered. Now that Mo Chen's injuries had healed, Xiao Chen naturally thought about refining the Heavenly Origin pill. He looked for the head shopkeeper to borrow the Heavenly Phoenix medicine cauldron from the medicinal cauldron pavilion and started to make preparations. "I'll leave the ingredients here. The rest is up to you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself." After spending 1 million black astral coins, Xiao Chen placed the 10 sets of ingredients for refining the Heavenly Origin pill on the table. Mo Chen smiled faintly and said, "With a nouveau riche like you around, how can there be any pressure? You should go first. It will take at least 2 days before there are results. I won't be of much help here." "Oh, right. Is there really no need to worry about the Mo clan's Starry Cloud Island? Many thanks for your concern. It's fine. I already expected today's situation, so I made preparations in advance. The Mo clan's people will scatter. If the city lord wants to take revenge on the Mo clan, he will definitely be disappointed." Mo Chen controlled the flames as she familiarized herself with the Heavenly Phoenix medicine cauldron. At the same time, she answered Xiao Chen's question. "In the future, if I have the ability to deal with the 8 city lords, I will naturally have a way to gather them." Xiao Chen nodded to himself. This girl really took care of everything. Unfortunately, she was too unyielding. It was hard to imagine that for the sake of blocking the thoughts of others, she would even do something to her own appearance. Actually, with her talent, she could easily join a large sect. She would not have to shoulder everything by herself. The reason the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association saved you this time is likely for the upcoming trip to the Treasure Mountain. Mo Chen changed the topic, voicing her own guess. "I know. There must be some hidden reasons. The 9 Cauldron Merchant Association should not lack experts." Xiao Chen nodded, agreeing with Mo Chen's guess. It is good to work with them. Compared to the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion, the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association's reputation are much better. The Heavenly Treasure Pavilion was the merchant association behind the Liu clan. Xiao Chen had heard Mo Chen mention it before. This merchant association was rather tyrannical, wanting to swallow up the Mo clan several times. Mo Chen ignored it and supported the Liu clan to suppress the Mo clan. Mo Chen did not have a good impression of the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion at all. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. In the Cloud Sea domain, the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association and the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion were about equal. This time, Mu Qinghan trying to rope him in might have something to do with the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion. Seeing that Mo Chen had already started refining the Heavenly Origin pill, Xiao Chen said his goodbyes and prepared to leave. When refining medicinal pills, one needed absolute silence. Xiao Chen did not like having others around when he refined medicinal pills. Just as he was about to close the door, he thought of something and stopped. Your solar true flame imprint is still in my hands. I'll give it to you now. There's no need. You can keep it. Emo Chen focused on refining medicinal pills, not even turning her head as she said, Are you leaving or not? If not, I will chase you out. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly and gently closed the door. Then he turned around and said, I cannot just take the solar true flame from you for nothing. The innate beauty nourishing pill in the compendium of cultivation should be able to help you. Emo Chen's wound had already existed for too long. Furthermore, it was intentional. The wound merged with the skin and flesh. Regular beauty nourishing pills would find it hard to have any effect. Only the innate beauty nourishing pill could help the other party. There was another way to help the other party. One day, when Emo Chen reached Emperor Wu's strength, she could remove all the scars during the process of reconstructing the golden body. Aside from spending some time and a lot of precious materials, refining the innate beauty nourishing pill was not very difficult. The only thing Xiao Chen worried about was whether the other party would be willing to use it or not. While the two of them were refining medicine, undercurrents were surging in Shattered Cloud City. The news of the 8 young city lords' deaths seemed to grow wings, spreading throughout the entire Cloud Sea domain and causing a huge commotion. As the situation changed, the 7 city lords of Broken Cloud City, Wind Cloud City, Heavenly Cloud City, Fog Cloud City, Chaotic Cloud City, and Frost Cloud City arrived. 7 major characters with the cultivation of the blue-robed emperor, people who could stir up winds and clouds with just a raise of their hands, worked together and arrived at Shattered Cloud City. All of them had sullen expressions, and the killing chi in their eyes was withdrawn. In the city lord's residence, these people looked coldly at the Shattered Cloud City city lord, demanding an explanation. Why were the 7 young city lords of Shattered Cloud City killed like pigs and dogs in the city lord's residence of Shattered Cloud City? Even now, the culprit had not been caught. Just as the treasure mountain was about to surface, the 8 young city lords all died in Shattered Cloud City. This news could not help but make one's imagination run wild. Did the other factions do this on purpose? Within the Cloud Sea domain, the 8 city lords ruled over the area. However, they were not in a situation where they could cover the sky with one hand. Not only were there strong factions like the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion and the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association, but they were not much weaker than the city lord's residents. There were also several peak Great Grandmaster level loose cultivators who did not fear the city lord's residents. If they worked together, even the blue-robed emperor would have a headache. Furthermore, the name of the main character of this incident, Xianxia, spread throughout the entire Cloud Sea domain like a whirlwind. What kind of person dared to kill the 8 young city lords in the city lord's residence, offending the 8 blue-robed emperors in one go? Who gave him the confidence to kill in a fit of rage without the slightest scruple? However, no matter how they investigated, they could not find much information. They only knew that this person had never appeared in the Cloud Sea domain before. They had not heard of this name in the Southern Sea or the Northern Sea, either. Xianxia. This person was like a meteor that suddenly appeared, descending from the sky with resplendent light and arriving in the Cloud Sea domain. The moment he appeared, he immediately stirred up the winds and clouds, and undercurrents surged. In Shattered Cloud City's city lord's residence, in merely 2 days, the other 7 city lords put down their important matters and traveled 5,000 kilometers under the starry night sky. At this moment, in a hall of an even higher standard in Shattered Cloud City's city lord's residence, 7 people expressionlessly looked coldly at Shattered Cloud City's city lord, Wang Zhan, who sat in the middle. Little brother Wang, this time, the scions of our clans all died in your residence. You have to give us an explanation. If this drags on, we will not have much patience. Shi Yong, the separated Cloud City city lord, spoke first, coldly. His son, Shi Feng, had his head exploded with a small saber strike from Xiao Chen. He did not even have a complete corpse. Frost Cloud City city lord said, You did not even catch the murderer. Little brother Wang, how can you be a city lord? Shi Yong's son, Meng Xingwen, was in an even worse state. He had been struck by Xiao Chen's punch. 5 dragon force, 25,000 tons of force, smashed to smithereens, not even leaving a corpse behind. The other city lords spoke up one after another, putting pressure on Wang Zhan. Wang Zhan had been in the city lord's position for the shortest time. Among the 8, he was considered the youngest. When they lectured him, they did not hold back at all. Seeing that Wang Zhan did not say anything, Shi Yong said angrily, "Humph! Wang Zhan, we can't be bothered to speak nonsense with you. Hand over the murderer within 3 days and compensate each of us with 5 million black astral coins and 3 islands. Otherwise, just wait to get out of the Cloud Sea domain." Clearly, the 7 had discussed this beforehand. With Shi Yong taking the lead, they all stood up and left with a flick of their sleeves. "Haha! Isn't it just a dead son? Do you think I do not know how many concubines you have? You want to use this to threaten me and divide my territory? Your excuse is too lousy." Chapter 1033. Wang Zhan, who had been silent all this time, picked up his teacup just as the group was about to leave. Shi Yong turned his head and said angrily, "Although I have many descendants, not all of them are qualified to be the junior city lord. Wang Zhan, are you really forcing us to fall out with you now?" "Fall out?" Wang Zhan put down his teacup and smiled. "Do you really have the guts to fall out with me? Even if I have to risk my life, I can still drag one of you down with me." When the few people with surging auras heard this, they felt stifled. If Wang Zhan was determined to die together with them, no one would be able to stop him. The culprit can be caught, and the compensation can be discussed. I was in the wrong in this matter, so I admit defeat. But if you want to extort me, don't even think about it. I, Wang Zhan, am not one to be frightened. Wang Zhan retracted the smile on his face, not showing the slightest bit of fear. Being able to reach this step and obtain his current status, Wang Zhan was indeed not a coward. "Murderer? Humph, it's already been 2 days, and you still haven't even seen the shadow of others, right?" Stone Brave mocked. "He is hiding in the backyard of the Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion. If you have the guts, you can rush in at any time," Wang Zhan said indifferently. Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion, the 9-tripod commerce's Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion. When the others heard this, their expressions changed slightly. They looked at each other and saw a trace of fear in each other's eyes. The atmosphere suddenly turned strange when Wang Zhan mentioned the Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion. What's going on? The 9-cauldron pavilion is preparing to enter the Cloud Sea domain? A small place like the Cloud Sea domain would not catch their eye, right? Heavenly Cloud City's city lord said uncertainly. Others might not know, but these people knew that the 2 great merchant associations of the Cloud Sea domain, the 9-cauldron Merchant Association and the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion, had huge factions that spanned the entire heavenly starry ocean behind them. If they really wanted to interfere in the Cloud Sea domain, it would not be their turn to be kings here. If Xianxia was really hiding in the Medicinal Cauldron Pavilion, they would have to think twice before making a move. As soon as the city lord of Heavenly Cloud City spoke, the other city lords couldn't help but reveal a hint of worry on their faces. Wang Zhan mocked. "How can that be? How can a small place like the Cloud Sea domain be worth mobilizing Emperor Wu? The heavenly starry ocean is huge. What's going on then? Why would the 9-cauldron Merchant Association suddenly make a move and save that person?" Wang Zhan waved his hand. "Don't ask me. I don't know either. However, if there is nothing fishy about this, if there is no profit to be gained, there is no way the 9-cauldron pavilion would do something so strenuous and unrewarding. I've also received news that the young master of the Treasure Heaven Pavilion has mysteriously lured over a group of young outstanding talents from the Southern Sea region. The Treasure Mountain has been peaceful for so many years. I'm afraid that some people have received some news that a great opportunity is about to appear." In the end, Wang Zhan pointed out his own guess. Such a strange movement definitely had something to do with the Treasure Mountain that was about to appear. However, we've all been to the Treasure Mountain before. Aside from finding some 10,000-year-old spirit herbs, the secret treasures in the remnant are of no use to people of our cultivation bases. Could it be the legendary Book of Heavenly Works? They got the news? Or perhaps the entrance to the 10,000 Treasure Pavilion was discovered. It might even be the burial grounds of the fiery sect's past sect masters. Perhaps it has something to do with the heart of the ocean. When the 7 city lords heard the last piece of news that Wang Zhan mentioned, they forgot about the pain of losing their sons. All of them started discussing the discovery in the Treasure Mountain for the 2 merchant associations to make such a move. When Wang Zhan saw this, he smiled coldly in his heart. He knew that this group of people were not here purely because of the loss of their sons. Now that they received news of the Treasure Mountain, their expressions immediately changed. No matter what the news is, without sufficient benefits, The Nine Cauldron Merchant Association will definitely not save Wenziren. If the few of you want to kill him, you can go over now. However, if you alert the enemy, you can forget about getting a share of the benefits in the treasure mountain. Seeing that the 7 were almost done, Wang Zhan interjected indifferently. Shi Yong said sullenly, "We can let him live for a few more days first. A few more days does not matter." Wang Zhan stood up, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He said coldly, "Good. That way we can talk. We need to kill him. Otherwise, the 8 of us will lose all our face. We need to take revenge for our sons' deaths. There is no need to rush. Whether there is anything in the treasure mountain or not, we just need to send people to follow. If there is nothing, we will not lose anything. After the matter is over, I will naturally give everyone a share of compensation. There is no need for us to damage our relationship." Little brother Wang, these words are pleasing to the ears. Let's do that. We will each send a great Grandmaster level martial sage to lead the team and follow the 2 young masters from afar. We will know what they discovered with one look. In next to no time, the situation where swords were drawn became harmonious and harmonious. Needless to say, it was a great irony. At the same time, in the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion's headquarters, the young master was discussing with the 2 people from Zodiac Hall. The Heavenly Treasure Pavilion's young master in the Cloud Sea domain was called Chen Wenjun. His aura was similar to Mu Qinghan's. However, his eyes had an additional tyranny and coldness, making others wary with one look. However, at this moment, Chen Wenjun did not dare to show any of his tyranny in his words. The reason was none other than the 2 people speaking to him having a very high status. Everyone in the entire Southern Sea knew about them. At such a young age, they were already peak Grandmaster level martial sages, only 1 step shy of great Grandmaster level martial sages. In this age of geniuses, these people were undoubtedly outstanding talents. Everywhere they went, they could be called geniuses. "Brother Chen, don't lie to us. We came all the way here for the 10,000 treasure pavilion that you mentioned. At that time, we will only pick up a pile of spirit herbs and sage-grade secret treasures." Chen Wenjun quickly said, "Don't worry. The news about the 10,000 treasure pavilion is absolutely true. I also have a map of the entrance." Unfortunately, the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association's Mu Qinghan also obtained a map. Furthermore, he found a demonic genius youth to help him. Wenziren? We heard that he only killed 8 superior-grade martial sages, and he dares to call himself a demonic genius? Any elite disciple of our Sun Palace can do that easily. The Zodiac Hall disciple on the right said with disdain. At this moment, Xiao Chen naturally did not know what kind of waves his cooperation with Mu Qinghan would cause. Furthermore, the 8 blue-robed emperors already had their eyes on him. No matter what the result was, it seemed to be a dead end. I finally succeeded. Currently, Xiao Chen was anxiously refining the innate beauty-nourishing pill. He had not refined medicinal pills for a long time, so his skills were rusty. After he bought the ingredients from the manager, he failed close to 7 or 8 times. Only then did he manage to refine this incredibly precious innate beauty-nourishing pill that could restore one's body to that of 20-odd years old. Actually, it was not just because Xiao Chen's skills were rusty, resulting in such a low success rate. The greater reason was that the innate beauty-nourishing pill was extremely difficult to refine in the first place. It was already very difficult to maintain one's skin and appearance. Furthermore, it had to restore one's skin and flesh from the inside out. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it was heaven-defying. Simply put, it could restore an old woman's appearance to that of her youth. Compared to the effects of the beauty-nourishing pill, there was a qualitative difference. Fortunately, Xiao Chen used the Immortal Epic's alchemy techniques. If it were the martial Epic's alchemy techniques, the success rate would be several times higher. 2 days have passed already. I wonder how Mo Chen is doing? Xiao Chen muttered to himself as he placed the innate beauty-nourishing pill into the jade bottle. As long as he could refine 1 heavenly origin pill out of 10 sets of ingredients, he would be able to recoup half of the 1 million black astral coins he invested. If he could refine 2, he would be able to break even. If he could refine 3, he could consume 1 and auction the remaining 2. Then, he would be able to recoup the 1 million black astral coins he spent. Of course, this was the best outcome. There was also a tragic one. If he failed all 10 refinements, not only would he lose everything, but he would also have to delay his recovery of strength. This was how alchemy was. Even the strongest alchemist could guarantee a 100% success rate. Once the refinement failed, the alchemist would not bear responsibility. The person requesting the alchemy pill would be responsible for the losses. Xiao Chen prayed for a while. Then, he walked over to Imo Chen's room anxiously. He could not help his nervousness. Right now, he had already reached a bottleneck. If he could not reform his law energy, he would find it hard to improve his strength. He would waste a lot of time. If he could reform his law energy, his strength would improve greatly, and he would be reborn. Xiao Chen knocked on the door and stated his purpose. "Come in, young Master One. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Imo Chen's tone was not relaxed. "She waited for me for a long time and finished so early. Could it be that they all failed?" Xiao Chen pushed the door open and entered. The Heavenly Phoenix medicine cauldron was no longer there. The manager must have taken it away. There were 10 jade bottles on the table. They were all sealed, so Xiao Chen could not see what was inside. "How was it? Did you succeed?" Xiao Chen asked anxiously. Imo Chen stared at Xiao Chen with guilt in her eyes. Xiao Chen's heart instantly turned cold. 10 sets of ingredients. I prepared 10 sets of ingredients, but I still failed. It looks like I have to find a Grandmaster Alchemist. However, Xiao Chen's mental state had already reached a certain level. This setback would not make him too depressed. Furthermore, he had the alchemic recipe. There was no need to worry about not recovering his strength. Smiling bitterly, Xiao Chen consoled Imo Chen. "It's fine. 1 million black astral coins is nothing. If you failed, so be it." Imo Chen lowered her head and said softly, "Sorry, I overestimated my ability. 10 sets of ingredients, and I only succeeded in refining 5 heavenly origin pills." It's fine, it's fine." "What? You succeeded in refining 5 heavenly origin pills?" This startled Xiao Chen. However, Imo Chen had already raised her head, and a crafty smile flashed in her eyes. Xiao Chen was speechless. The boat continued to float on the water, not moving at all. If a cultivator of the Cloud Sea domain happened to pass by, he would definitely know this old man's identity. He was a famous loose cultivator of the Cloud Sea domain, known as the Old Fish Eccentric. He was a peak great grandmaster level martial sage. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound of something tearing through the air rang out. In the distance, a beautiful middle-aged woman, wearing an enchanting red dress, was walking on the water as she approached. She looked like a blooming peony, bright red and glistening, giving off a floral fragrance. "Old Fish Eccentric, you did not even put any bait on your fishing rod. Can you even cast fish?" The beautiful middle-aged woman asked with a smile as she approached. She looked very charming. She did not feel any fear or embarrassment at this infamous loose cultivator who killed people like scything flax. That was right. This beautiful middle-aged woman was also a loose cultivator. Her cultivation and reputation were no weaker than the Old Fish Eccentrics. In fact, it was even worse. Those who were killed by it would all turn into red bones. It was extremely strange. "Madam Flower, I am not fishing. I am waiting for the fish to jump out on its own," the Old Fish Eccentric said indifferently with a strange smile. "Haha, this fish is indeed big enough. If it jumps out, can you finish it alone?" The beautiful middle-aged woman addressed as Madam Flower had a smile in her phoenix eyes. Her voice had a bewitching charm to it. The Old Fish Eccentric smiled and said, "Aren't my old friends here already?" A gentle breeze blew, and the seawater rippled gently. The surrounding clouds moved. 3 great Grandmaster-level martial sages of different ages and auras rushed over from the distance. One of them was 2 meters tall and had a thick waist and broad shoulders. His skin was exposed, and his bulging muscles looked like small hills, looking very sturdy. This person carried a broadsword on his back that was as thick as a door. It weighed several tens of thousands of kilograms. This man was known as the Iron Sword Maniac. When he erupted with his full power, even an ordinary blue-robed emperor would not dare to clash head-on. The other person was a youth with a head full of silver hair. He gave off a ferocious killing chi. His appearance was delicate, but his eyes were scarlet. It looked like a demonic beast that was walking on two legs. In reality, this was indeed the case. The silver-haired youth was a member of the fiend race from the sea. He was a silver shark that had gained sentience and taken human form. In the Cloud Sea domain, he was even more infamous than the old fish eccentric. His killing methods were the cruelest. The last person was an old man whose face was covered with wrinkles. He wore a sackcloth garment, and although he looked very ordinary, his cultivation base was the highest among the five. This old man had already touched the vast chasm between great grandmaster-level martial sages and the blue-robed emperor. He was only a step away from forging a bridge. This old man's name was Jianghu. He was the leader of the 5 great loose cultivators here. The 5 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain normally went their separate ways. Now, they were strangely gathered together. If they did not have a motive, no one would believe it. Gao Yongyu said, "Old fish eccentric, you have been to the treasure mountain 5 times in total. Are you really confident that the treasure mountain will appear here this time?" The old fish eccentric did not put away his fishing rod. He said calmly, "Everyone is not here yet. I will tell you when everyone is here." Right after the old fish eccentric spoke, huge waves suddenly appeared on the surface of the sea. The small boat drifted with the waves, rising and falling, looking very startling. Amid the strong winds and huge waves, an extremely young-looking man emerged from the waves. There was a wound on this young man's shoulder. Clearly, he had just undergone a huge battle. Blood flowed out, but his expression did not change, like he did not feel anything. The moment the young man stepped on the waves and passed through them, everything was calm and tranquil. He was like the king of the sea. Everywhere he went, no one dared to defy him. This will of a king could make everyone submit with just a raise of his hand. Xianxia. The gazes of the 5 people were all focused on this person. Their faces were solemn, as if they were facing a great enemy. The youth before them was only a grandmaster-level martial sage. However, he gave these great grandmaster-level martial sages great pressure. Even Gao Yongyu frowned slightly, revealing a cautious expression. This youth before them had come to the Cloud Sea domain 4 years ago. Who knew what fortuitous encounter he had? In merely 2 years, he had killed his way to his current position among the loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain, becoming the 6th strongest outside of the 5 great loose cultivators. Now that everyone is here, we can speak. If nothing unexpected happens, the treasure mountain will appear in the sea in front after another incense stick's worth of time. The 5 looked in the direction that the old fish eccentric pointed. It was an extremely ordinary sea region. There was nothing strange about it on the surface. Xianxia frowned and said, "There does not seem to be anything special about this place. How do you know that the treasure mountain will appear here?" The old fish eccentric smiled and said, "The fish at the bottom of the sea told me. Whether you believe me or not, we will know after 1 incense stick's worth of time." The others were dubious. If they did not believe him at all, they would not have come all the way to the shattered Cloud Sea just because of 1 sentence from the old fish eccentric. After all, the other party was someone who had been to the treasure mountain 5 times. Time slowly approached. Soon, the time for 1 incense stick to burn could only be counted in seconds. Everyone stared at the sea that the old fish eccentric pointed at. Boom! After they finished counting in their hearts, a sharp horn suddenly shot up from the sea. In the next moment, the horn soared into the sky, bringing up a tall mountain that pierced the clouds. The surroundings of the tall mountain were shrouded in fog. They could vaguely make out a dilapidated palace, a remnant with a dense ancient aura, and the occasional flash of treasure light and colorful spirit herbs. The 6 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain all revealed expressions of joy in their eyes. The treasure mountain was indeed a bona fide treasure mountain. The old fish eccentric was right. I am rather interested in the 10,000 treasure pavilion as well. Mo Chen nodded and said, "We do not have any conflict with Mu Qing Han. He is interested in the treasures in there and does not know that the Book of Heavenly Works is in there." Someone is coming. Let's go. Xiao Chen's spiritual sense was sharp. He immediately stopped talking and went out with Mo Chen. The person who came was the manager. He led Xiao Chen and Mo Chen into the inner courtyard. There was another strong team there, consisting of 5 superior-grade martial sages, 2 grandmaster-level martial sages, and 1 great grandmaster-level martial sage. As usual, this team entered the treasure mountain to deceive others. The other team was much smaller, consisting of the manager, Mu Qinghan, Xiao Chen, and Mo Chen. 1 in the open and 1 in the dark. The team on the surface acted as cover and support. The team that truly entered the 10,000 treasure pavilion was led by Mu Qinghan. The fewer people they could, the better. Ensuring that the news did not leak out was the biggest goal. The 10,000 treasure pavilion would probably do the same. As long as the news leaked out, they would face a lot of competition and chaos. One did not need to think to know. After the team on the surface left, Mu Qinghan said sullenly, "We will leave through the secret path." Inside the 10,000 treasure pavilion, Chen Wenjun's arrangements were nearly the same as Mu Qinghan's. After the team on the surface left, he led 2 Zodiac Hall disciples out of Shattered Cloud City through the secret path. In the City Lord's residence of Shattered Cloud City, the 7 City Lords all looked at Wang Zhan nervously. Wang Zhan, who sat in the middle, took a note from the leg of a messenger bird and read it. A sinister smile slowly appeared on his face. "How is it, Brother Wang? Are there any strange movements from the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association and the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion?" Wang Zhan put away the note and smiled. Like before, they sent out their strongest cultivators. I did not see Wen Xiren in the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association's team. That can't be. Doesn't that mean we miscalculated? It's over. This time, Wen Xiren probably ran far away and is no longer in the Cloud Sea domain. Wang Zhan said unhurriedly, "I have not finished speaking yet. There is no need to be in such a rush. Indeed, there are no strange movements on the surface. However, the 2 clans sent out another team in secret. I saw Wen Xiren in the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association's team. I saw 2 elite disciples of Zodiac Hall's strongest astral palace, the Sun Palace, in the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion's team." The moment Wang Zhan said that, the other city lords immediately revealed expressions of joy. They had not waited in vain. Indeed, there was a big movement. Wang Zhan said coldly, "If not for me operating in the city for so many years and keeping an eye out for them, we might have been tricked by them this time. Send our people out as well. Just follow them from afar. This time, we will let them take the lead first. Then, we will personally make a move at the end. We will make them lose all their efforts for nothing." The treasure mountain appeared once every 100 years. It could affect all the cultivators, clans, sects, and loose cultivators in the entire Cloud Sea domain. Chapter 1036. When Xiao Chen's group arrived at the treasure mountain, more than 1,000 cultivators had already gathered in the surrounding sea regions. There were even more who entered the treasure mountain. Xiao Chen looked up at the treasure mountain. Just the part that floated above the water was more than 10 kilometers long. However, this was just the tip of the iceberg of the treasure mountain. Below the water, there was an even vaster main body, extending all the way to the legendary heart of the ocean. The bottom was even more mysterious and alluring. However, even with Emperor Wu's cultivation, he did not dare to casually dive in. As for the deepest part, to the heart of the ocean, even sovereign martial emperors had to be careful. Most of the martial artists would only search and explore the mountains that were floating above the water. Even though they knew that no one visited the depths of the ocean, that the remnant was still intact, and that the harvest would be even greater, no one would take the risk. This was because all those who took the risk died. The crowd surged, and lights of various colors flickered. The manager said, "There are really a lot of people. If we go to search for spirit herbs and try our luck outside, we will not be able to obtain any great benefits." This went without saying. Aside from the 6 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain who arrived first, there were too many people who arrived later. All the good things had already been snatched away. For example, if one person monopolized a herb field, the harvest would be startlingly vast. However, with tens of thousands of people fighting for it, even if it was split evenly among more than 1,000 people, its value would be greatly reduced. Mu Qinghan smiled and said, "Hence, I have never been interested in treasure mountains. If I had not obtained the news of the 10,000 treasure pavilion by coincidence, I would not have come to join in the excitement." Coincidence? Xiao Chen smiled silently in his heart. If Mu Qinghan knew that the so-called coincidence was just something arranged by Mo Chen, how would he feel? However, there was no harm in knowing. The two of them had different goals, so there would not be any conflict. At most, they would feel somewhat unhappy. Mu Qinghan turned around and said to Xiao Chen, "Brother One, our opponents this time are only those people from the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion. They invited 2 people from the Zodiac Hall. If I guess correctly, they should be the elite disciples of the Sun Palace, the top palace of the Zodiac Hall. At that time, we will have to rely on you. If we appear too weak, the other party will definitely not mind chasing us out." Xiao Chen said, "What if the opponent's performance is too weak?" Mu Qinghan shook his head and said, "The possibility is not high. If there were only one Sun Palace disciple, I might be able to make some moves. But since 2 of them have come, I only hope that they understand the big picture. Otherwise, it won't be good for anyone if the fish dies and the net splits." It was clear that Mu Qinghan still doubted Xiao Chen's strength. After all, Xiao Chen was only an inferior-grade martial sage. As for the Zodiac Hall's outstanding talents, they were all geniuses and had the ability to fight above their cultivation level. Even at the Grandmaster level, they could defeat existences at the Grandmaster level. In Mu Qinghan's opinion, as the Saber Sovereign Wu Xiaotian's personal disciple, Xiao Chen had a 60% chance of victory if he was not injured when fighting against the 2 Sun Palace elites. But now that he was injured and his strength had yet to fully recover, his chances of winning should only be 50%. It was more than enough to deter the other party and prevent the other party from getting any ideas. However, suppressing the other party would be a little difficult. In reality, Mu Qinghan's guess was not wrong. However, Xiao Chen was not Wen Xiren. Mu Qinghan had an even greater background than Wen Xiren. Xiao Chen smiled and did not argue. "Let's go." Mu Qinghan led the way, passing through the heavy fog. Then, he gently drifted down and landed on the treasure mountain. The group moved away from the crowd and took a remote path. The mountain path was riddled with potholes. Several spirit herbs had been uprooted, not leaving anything behind. All sorts of fiery sect palaces and remnants could be seen on both sides of the path. As one walked, one could clearly feel the weight of history that time brought. Clearly, Mu Qinghan wanted to avoid the crowd, not going to the popular herb fields or the relatively intact palaces. However, it seemed like things did not go as he wished. Halfway down the path, the 4 ran into a silver-haired youth radiating fiendish qi. The silver-haired youth had an extremely relaxed expression. It looked like he had obtained a bountiful harvest before everyone else. At this moment, he was casually strolling around, trying to see if his luck was good enough to find some spirit herbs and hidden passages. "Oh, isn't this the young master of the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association?" The silver-haired youth's eyes immediately lit up when he saw Mu Qinghan. Tai Jianquang swept his gaze over the 4 of them. When he saw that there were no strong enemies, he revealed a malicious expression. Mu Qinghan frowned slightly. Unexpectedly, this silver-haired youth was one of the 6 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain, the Silver Shark Swordsmen. "Go further away. I will pretend that I did not see you," Mu Qinghan said coldly. He couldn't be polite to these loose cultivators. The more polite he was, the more it would seem that he didn't have any trump cards up his sleeves. Instead, it would cause the other party to be even more fearless. The Silver Shark Swordsman swept his gaze over the 4 and felt confident. Mu Qinghan and the manager were Grandmaster-level martial sages. The veiled girl was only a medial-grade martial sage. The remaining youth was even more ordinary, only an inferior-grade martial sage. The 2 Grandmasters were a little troublesome, but if he could get rid of the 2 small fries and no one bothered him, he would be able to deal with the 2 of them within 100 moves silently and without attracting any trouble. As the silver-haired youth thought to himself, he smiled and said, "Well said. Since young Master Mu has spoken, I will just leave." Mu Qinghan heaved a sigh of relief. This kind of loose cultivator did not fear anything. He even dared to speak to the city lord's residence's people. If not for the fact that Mu Qinghan had more people on his side, the other party would not have been able to deal with him so quickly. Hu Qi! However, in the time it took for a spark to fly, a strong wind blew and clouds churned. The silver-haired youth turned around and attacked at lightning speed. He flew over and turned into a huge silver shark. Then, he opened his mouth wide and charged at Xiao Chen, who had the lowest cultivation. The silver-haired youth was incredibly fast. It was hard to imagine that he would suddenly attack with a killing move before his smile faded. Xiao Chen's lips curled up. Such a move might be effective against cultivators who had just left their sections. However, it was useless against him. From the moment this person appeared, he had never let down his guard. Do you think I'm a pushover that you can bully as you please? Kuan Peng fist, hating the heavens for being too low. A huge shadow suddenly appeared, covering the sky. Xiao Chen radiated a lofty aspiration and the aura of a ruler, hating the heavens for being too low. The instant the Kuan Peng spread its wings, Xiao Chen soared into the air. He spread his arms and kicked up a strong wind in the surroundings, causing the clouds to shatter. Not only did Xiao Chen not retreat, but he even took a step forward. Despite moving later, he suppressed the other party with his aura and punched. Bang! When the fist and palm met, cracks appeared on the ground. Rubble flew everywhere, and the entire mountain shook. The silver-haired youth could not stand steadily and retreated 10 steps. Blood leaked out of the corner of his lips. This was the result of him underestimating his opponent. Xiao Chen spun around 3 times and landed firmly on the ground. The instant his feet touched the ground, the shaking mountain stopped shaking. Haha, I was just joking. Little friend, you are pretty strong. Your vital qi is astonishing. I will take my leave first. The silver-haired youth had suffered a loss. He had not expected Xiao Chen to be a hidden expert. So, he moved back, wanting to leave. However, the silver-haired youth's thoughts were as quick as lightning. He was cunning and full of schemes. After suffering a significant loss, he immediately calmed down and stopped attacking. Instead, he started plotting something else. Xiao Chen watched coldly as this person left, not saying anything. Young Master One, I did not expect you to know such a martial technique. This fist technique, which is close to a profound technique, actually managed to force back the silver shark swordsman. Seeing Xiao Chen force back the silver-haired youth with one punch, Mu Qinghan felt both startled and happy. The silver-haired youth was one of the 6 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain. He was infamous. Now, Xiao Chen forced him back with one punch. This time, Mu Qinghan had unintentionally picked up a treasure. Xiao Chen's gaze remained calm. He shook his head and said, this person only underestimated his opponent. He was not severely injured. Haha. No matter what, I am even more confident in this trip to the 10,000 treasure pavilion, Mu Qinghan said with a smile, his face filled with joy. The group continued forward. Xiao Chen kept an eye out and extended out his spiritual sense. Indeed, Xiao Chen saw that the silver-haired youth had not left yet. A messaging talisman flew out of his hand, like he was summoning someone. Xiao Chen withdrew his spiritual sense. It looked like the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association and the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion's plan of splitting the 10,000 treasure pavilion equally was impossible. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen told Mu Qinghan everything he saw. After all, Xiao Chen was indebted to the other party. If they continued according to the original plan and waited for the silver shark swordsman to gather people, not only would they not obtain the treasures, but they might even lose their lives. When Mu Qinghan heard that, his expression changed greatly. Then he asked to confirm, Brother One, are you sure you did not see it? Knowing that the other party would definitely suspect him, Xiao Chen said calmly, I guarantee that what I saw was real. There is no benefit in lying to you. You know that. Damn it! That silver shark swordsman must be gathering the other 5 great loose cultivators. He thinks that my 9 Cauldron Merchant Association still has experts that have not arrived and that he is not a match for them alone, Mu Qinghan said hatefully. Mu Qinghan said hatefully. His expression was extremely depressed. Xiao Chen could only blame his bad luck for running into the silver shark swordsman, one of the 6 great loose cultivators of the Cloud Sea domain. If he could kill the others to silence them, the news would not leak. Then, he would not have to go through so much trouble. What should we do? If we continue, we will definitely expose the location of the 10,000 treasure pavilion. At that time, the 6 great loose cultivators will benefit for nothing. Mu Qinghan could not think of a solution. Anxiety appeared on his face. Mo Chen said softly, How about this? Let's spread the news of the 10,000 treasure pavilion's location, and let all the cultivators in the treasure mountain rush in. Young Master Mu, you can call back the other team. With a great Grandmaster-level martial sage holding down the fort, we should be able to gain something. Amid the chaos, the 6 great loose cultivators' deterrence will be much weaker. Furthermore, these loose cultivators are all unruly, unwilling to submit to anyone else. When they see the treasures that interest them, they will definitely attack each other and become scattered. You will have plenty of opportunities. How can this do? My clan's young master put in a lot of effort to obtain the entrance to the 10,000 treasure pavilion. How can we give it to others for no reason? The moment the manager said that, he immediately rejected Mo Chen's suggestion. Chapter 1037. Mo Chen smiled faintly and said, "It is just a suggestion. Whether you agree or not naturally depends on young Master Mu's opinion." Mu Qinghan thought for a while. Then, determination flashed in his eyes. "Let's do that then. Manager, go and call back Elder Lu's team. After that, spread the news of the 10,000 treasure pavilion's entrance. No matter what, we cannot let those bastards loose cultivators benefit." Indeed, Mu Qinghan was right. If they followed the original plan, the ones who would benefit the most would be the 5 great loose cultivators. However, the premise of all this was that the 4 did not know that the 8 blue-robed emperors in Shattered Cloud City were already stealthily heading for the Treasure Mountain. They had already stealthily set off for the Treasure Mountain. In a situation that no one expected, a bona fide quasi-emperor was interested in a mere Treasure Mountain. Furthermore, there were 8 of them traveling together. After 15 minutes, a piece of exciting news spread throughout the Treasure Mountain. Do you know? The location of the 10,000 treasure pavilion was discovered. It is at the Sage Cliff. The 9 Cauldron Merchant Association leaked the news. Is it true? It is. I heard that the 6 great loose cultivators all headed there. It is definitely true. Who cares if it is true or not? We will know once we go and take a look. The Sage Cliff is not far away. If it is true, we will have made a huge profit. The news of the 10,000 treasure pavilion's entrance at the Sage Cliff spread like wildfire. 1 spread to 10, 10 to 100. Soon, all the cultivators in the Treasure Mountain were excited. Cultivators of various cultivations all rushed to the Sage Cliff. The Sage Cliff was a cliff on the vast Treasure Mountain. It had carvings of the fiery sect masters and divine grade refiners. This place was barren, and there were no palaces. Cultivators rarely came here, as there were no spirit herbs or secret treasures. However, no one expected that the entrance to the 10,000 treasure pavilion was behind the Sage Cliff that no one expected. When the countless cultivators arrived, they saw that a dark hole had already appeared in the cliff. They all rushed in excitedly. Not far away, the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion's Chen Wenjun's group showed extremely sullen expressions. They had not expected the 9 Cauldron Merchant Association's people to expose the 10,000 treasure pavilion's entrance. Senior Brother Lu. Senior Brother Feng. Sorry. I did not expect such a result, Chen Wenjun said to the 2 Sun Palace elite disciples in a low voice. The 2 Sun Palace elite disciples were called Lu Xiaoyu and Feng Ziying. They were among the top 10 of the Sun Palace's younger generation. Lu Xiaoyu wore the golden battle robes of the Sun Palace, embroidered with the majestic scene of a golden crow sun. He waved his hand and smiled. It's fine. As long as the location of the 10,000 treasure pavilion is real, it's fine. As for the trash in front, I'll kill as many as I can. Chen Wenjun said carefully, but I heard that the 6 great itinerant cultivators are also preparing to enter. When the time comes, Feng, Chen Wenjun said carefully, Chen Wenjun and said, Chen Wenjun and Wenjun, I heard that the 6 great loose cultivators preparing to enter. Chen Wenjun smiled and said, What are you saying? Both of you are peerless geniuses and have the ability to fight above your cultivation level. Why would I look down on you? Lu Xiaoyu was in a good mood. He waved his hand and said, Never mind. Junior Brother Feng, Junior Brother Chen is an outer sect disciple of the Cyclic Astral Palace. Finding the entrance to the 10,000 treasure pavilion is already a great merit. If we can obtain a few true treasures, we will definitely shine in the 4 Seas Hero Gathering in half a year. When Feng Ziying heard about the 4 Seas Hero Gathering, he revealed an expression of hope. He said heroically, Let's go. The Cloud Sea Domain is just a small place. If the blue-robed emperor does not come out, who can stop us? On the other side, the instigator of this matter, the Silver Shark Swordsman, was caught off guard when he saw this dramatic turn of events. The old fish devil looked at the people rushing around and smiled. Silver Shark Swordsman, your unique information does not seem to be unique at all. Now, everyone in the entire treasure mountain knows about it. The Iron Sword Kwong said sullenly. I'll go first. After saying that, he took a big step forward and turned into a blazing meteor, flying towards the sage cliff. Madame Hua laughed tenderly. Ha. This concubine will go first as well. Silver Shark Swordsman, it looks like I have to thank you for this. Shenyuan Zhantian did not say anything. He only glanced at the Silver Shark Swordsman before withdrawing his aura and silently heading for the sage cliff. The old fish devil laughed loudly and said, This old man will be leaving as well. Silver Shark Swordsman, it looks like it was not you this time but the people from the Nine Cauldron Merchant Association. They will definitely not expose the location of the 10,000 treasure pavilion. This is a good deed. Soon, only Gao Yongyu and the silver-haired youth remained. Gao Yongyu smiled gently and said, Silver Shark Swordsman, how about we travel together? The Silver Shark Swordsman's lips twitched. Then he smiled and said, I'd better go alone. What a joke. This Gao Yongyu's cultivation was originally only a step away from the blue-robed emperor's. Earlier, when he charged into the treasure mountain, half of the 10,000-year-old spirit herbs ended up in his hands. If Gao Yongyu consumed a 10,000-year-old spirit herb that could increase his law energy, he would be able to break through to the blue-robed emperor in one go. No matter who he traveled with, the Silver Shark Swordsman would not travel with this Gao Yongyu. At that time, Gao Yongyu might swallow him up until not even his bones remained. Gao Yongyu looked at the sage cliff in the distance, and his expression changed. He muttered, Regular king-grade secret treasures are not very useful to me. In the 10,000 treasure pavilion, only the profound cultivation techniques are suitable for me. As for the Book of Heavenly Works and the legendary divine weapon, the Emperor Yi shooting Sun Bao, they are too vague. Right, in that case I will target the profound martial techniques. I will kill whoever tries to compete with me. Gao Yongyu's tone was cold, but it contained an unparalleled tyranny and confidence. It was like all the profound martial techniques in the sage cliff were already his. Then, he raised his leg and casually took a step forward, disappearing from where he was. No one noticed that the instant Gao Yongyu raised his foot, the winds and clouds in the surroundings changed, creating a myriad of phenomena. When he raised his hand and stomped his foot, he stirred up the winds and clouds. Young Master One, we will part ways here for now. We will meet again in the future if we are fated. Mu Qinghan gathered another team. Now, there was an additional great Grandmaster-level martial sage, a Grandmaster-level martial sage, and several superior-grade martial sages. Their strength soared significantly. With the change of plans, Xiao Chen's value decreased significantly. Naturally, Mu Qinghan was no longer willing to travel with Xiao Chen. It was not worth it to continue offending the 8 blue-robed emperors. Between the gains and losses, Mu Qinghan made his decision. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and performed a cupped fist salute. We will meet again if we are fated. Given Xiao Chen's meticulous thoughts, he naturally guessed what Mu Qinghan was thinking. However, this was fine as well. This suited Xiao Chen. He already knew about the entrance to the 10,000 treasure pavilion. If not for the other party's kindness, he would not have traveled with him. Chen said softly, This young Master Mu is really decisive. Once he changed his plans, he instantly stirred up this mess even more. When he felt that he was at a disadvantage, he immediately abandoned his original partners without hesitation. Xiao Chen said indifferently, he did not do anything wrong. After all, he is a businessman and needs to consider his gains and losses. However, there are some things that cannot be measured by the value of business alone. Between gains and losses, sometimes, suffering a loss is the best thing to gain. Chen entered deep thought, mulling over Xiao Chen's words. After a while she said, Come, let's go in as well. Following Chen's footsteps, the two entered the sage cliff together. The cave in the sage cliff was a passageway. Illumination stones were embedded in the ceiling, giving off a weak light. The entire passageway was dark. When Xiao Chen and Chen entered, most of the cultivators had already entered impatiently. Only a sparse number of cultivators walked forward in groups of 2 or 3 excitedly. Chen's attire had already changed slightly, and Xiao Chen's attire was extremely ordinary. At this moment, no one would pay special attention to the two. Soon, the two reached the end of the passageway. A pair of bronze doors appeared before them. Dragons and phoenixes were carved on the doors, chasing one another. This showed the Tao of Yin and Yang. It seemed to contain some of the fiery sex refinement methods. Xiao Chen revealed an expression of reminiscence. This door was very familiar. He was once in the Sky Dome realm, in the underground forest, in the fiery sect branch ruins. All sorts of scenes appeared in Xiao Chen's mind like it was yesterday, vivid in his mind. Those outstanding talents were no longer around. Only he was still walking alone. Sky Dome Realm, Heavenly Saber Pavilion, Qingyun Peak. Is elder sister Ruyue doing well? Xiao Chen once thought that he was a cold-blooded person. He could leave his thoughts in the depths of his heart, in the corner of his heart. If he did not think about it, he would temporarily forget about it. However, when he saw the real thing and saw it, several things appeared uncontrollably in his mind. Trashy master, don't overthink. Seeing Xiao Chen reminiscing about the past, appearing confused, Ao Zhao, who was in the Immortal Spirit Ring, immediately reminded him. Ao Zhao has always been around. Xiao Chen smiled to himself. Little Ao Zhao, thank you. Then, he turned his head and glanced at Emo Chen beside him. He wondered if he could see this girl again after this matter. Emo Chen was very observant. She noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Chen. She asked out of concern, "What's wrong with you? Did you go to the fiery sect branch in the past and remember the past?" Xiao Chen was startled. Was my expression that obvious? Haha, I guessed right. The fiery sect branches are spread all over the world. This place is said to be the main hall. I wonder if that is true or not. There is such a thing? Xiao Chen asked. Is there news of the Book of Heavenly Works? Don't worry, it is definitely true. My Mo clan's ancestors were once the masters of many small sea domains between the Southern Sea and the Northern Sea. The Cloud Sea domain is just one of them. The news came from my ancestors, so it can't be wrong, Mo Chen said confidently. Suddenly, Xiao Chen recalled that he once obtained a mysterious sword hilt from a mountain flame giant outside the fiery sect remnant in the Sky Dome realm. Back then, the situation was urgent. Although he obtained it, he had not gone to take a look. Now that he was back at the fiery sect, he remembered this. After some effort, he found the sword hilt in the somewhat chaotic universe ring. Xiao Chen exerted some force, and the sword hilt shattered, revealing a golden phoenix-shaped jade pendant that looked like a burning flame. However, when Xiao Chen placed it on his palm, it felt cold, looking extremely strange. Hey, this is the key to the secret path. Why do you have one as well? Mo Chen immediately recognized this item. At the same time, she took out a phoenix-shaped jade pendant. Although the jade pendants were all heavenly phoenixes, their movements were very different. Chapter 1038. Xiao Chen asked out of curiosity, "What is this?" Mo Chen explained, "This jade pendant of mine was passed down from my ancestors. Whether we can obtain the Book of Heavenly Works or not depends on it. This piece of yours should be the key to some secret room. However, if we cannot find the corresponding secret room, this key is useless." Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen's interest diminished significantly. He put away the jade pendant and said, "Let's go. We have to help you obtain the Book of Heavenly Works quickly. If we delay, something might happen." Mo Chen nodded, and the unlatched doors opened once more. Then, the two formally entered the 10,000 Treasure Pavilion. The instant the doors opened, an unpleasant smell of blood wafted out. The shelves and the boxes on the stone pillars were all opened. The ground was littered with recently dead corpses. The blood had not dried yet. Aside from dying at the hands of cultivators, most of them died to the restrictions of the treasures. Every box and treasure here had restrictions and ancient mechanisms that could not be casually touched. The first floor of the 10,000 Treasure Pavilion was already incomparably complicated. The pathways extended in all directions. If one walked around carelessly, they might not even know the way to the second floor. Mo Chen took out a rough map and glanced at it. Then, she advanced unhurriedly. Along the way, she did not even glance at the stone rooms or the treasures on the shelves. Soon, they arrived at the passageway to the second floor. There was a thin barrier there, blocking several cultivators from entering. Bang! 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 Two inferior-grade martial sages attacked the barrier. However, the barrier did not budge at all. Instead, it reflected their attacks. The two vomited blood. Unexpectedly, the last strike had shaken them to death. The other cultivators who were preparing to test the barrier paled in fright. They no longer dared to make a move. They all hoped that when an expert broke the barrier, they could take the opportunity to pass through. Xiao Chen felt startled in his heart. The rebound force of this barrier might not be half of what he sent back. It might be double or even triple. Of course, there was definitely a limit. It could not go on indefinitely. As long as one passed that threshold, it could be easily broken. There were many cultivators here. Xiao Chen did not want to attract attention. He hugged Mo Chen, not allowing her to struggle. Then he pushed off the ground and soared into the air, turning into a saber. Bas! A resplendent saber light came from Xiao Chen's body, shining like the sun. Everyone's vision blurred as they heard the hum of a saber ring out beside their ears. When they opened their eyes again, the crack in the barrier was slowly mending. Damn! Where did this expert come from? In the time it took for a spark to fly, someone instantly broke through the barrier. The waiting cultivators all cried out in alarm. There were also quite a few people who were secretly cursing. Since they were going to go, it would be good to bring two people along. Get lost! Just at this moment, a rough shout resounded, and two strong auras surged over. The bodies of the cultivators were tossed into the walls like sandbags. They were badly mutilated and died on the spot. Everyone turned around and saw two rays of light as resplendent as the sun, illuminating the hall as if it was daytime. It's Zodiac Hall, a disciple of Sun Palace. Run! The remaining people were greatly startled. Zodiac Hall was a huge place in the entire heavenly starry ocean. Furthermore, these were the elite Sun Palace disciples. How could they dare to remain here? They are indeed trash. Before the two of us made a move, the Sun Astral might smash them to death. Lu Xiaoyu and Feng Ziying said indifferently as they put away the solar astral banners above their heads and looked at the mangled corpses on the ground. The mouths of Chen Wenjun and the great Grandmaster-level martial sage of the Nine Cauldron Merchant Association twitched. They could not bear to watch. Most of the cultivators on the first floor were only martial monarchs. How could they block the solar astral banners that the two had refined with tens of thousands of kilograms of divine materials? Lu Xiaoyu played with a mysterious black metal in his hand, a faint smile on his face. Feng Ziying smiled and said, "Senior brother, your luck is pretty good. You managed to obtain an ancient iron heart on the first floor. Even if you melt it down, you can exchange it for 100 tons of divine materials." Lu Xiaoyu said indifferently, "This iron heart is the core component of the Firely Sex combat puppets. If we can comprehend its secrets and forge combat puppets that can learn martial techniques, they will be worth far more than 100 tons of divine materials." A dim look flashed in Lu Xiaoyu's eyes as he said, "Unfortunately, even the rare divine grade refiners cannot comprehend its secrets. Without the Book of Heavenly Works, everything is for naught." Chen Wenjun whispered, "Senior brothers, that saber light earlier seemed to be from one Xiren. The person he brought with him was Mo Chen." Feng Ziying exclaimed softly, "What's wrong? Do you have a grudge with him?" "This one Xiren humiliated a subordinate clan of mine. That Mo Chen also grasps the unique refining techniques of the Mo clan. I have always wanted to annex this clan." Lu Xiaoyu's eyes lit up. After some thought he said, "Mo Chen, this girl is quite famous. Unfortunately, she is disfigured." Feng Ziying said casually, "Let's give chase and take a look. After all, this place is very big. We won't be able to cover it in a short time. We can just find something to do." When Chen Wenjun heard this, he rejoiced. He smiled and said, "Many thanks, senior brothers. I'll go and tear open the barrier." Feng Ziying's lips curled up as he said, "It is just a small barrier. There is no need to go over personally. Watch me." With a flip of his hand, the solar astral banner appeared in his palm. The banner fluttered, and a beam of flame shot out, burning the entire barrier. Disdain flashed in the eyes of the two as they flew over. Chen Wenjun recovered his wits and quickly gave chase. He was horrified at the strength of the Sun Palace disciples. The 10,000 treasure pavilion had a total of 5 floors. With each floor, the might of the barrier would double. Even with Xiao Chen's strength, he found it somewhat strenuous to break the barrier in the end. At the start, Chen Wenjun's group easily broke the barrier. In the end, Lu Xiaoyu and Feng Ziying had to work together to break it. All the peak experts of this treasure hunt were gathered on the 5th floor of the 10,000 treasure pavilion. Xiao Chen and Feng Ziying walked very carefully. Mo Chen chose the path with great care. However, this place restricted the use of spiritual sense. Xiao Chen did not notice that the people of the Sun Palace were following him from a distance. On the 5th floor, every stone room contained a high-ranked king-grade secret treasure, a divine weapon from the ancient era, all sorts of natural treasures, or even ancient divine materials. Of course, it was not that easy to obtain them. The stone rooms had strong restrictions and traps. If one was not careful, they might fail to find the treasure and end up losing their lives. All sorts of miserable cries rang out on the 5th floor of the 10,000 treasure pavilion. From the moment Xiao Chen and Feng Ziying arrived, they had not stopped. Lu Xiaoyu and Feng Ziying, who were following behind them, showed grave expressions from their initial carelessness. Even a fool would know that something was wrong with Xiao Chen and Mo Chen, who were following them, not even glancing at the various stone rooms and secret treasures. Excitement flashed in Feng Ziying's eyes as he muttered, "Interesting. We were just looking for something to do. Unexpectedly, we caught a big fish." Chen Wenjun smiled gently and said, 5,000 years ago, the Mo clan was the master of the sea region. The treasure they are searching for is definitely not simple. It is either the legendary Emperor Yi Shooting Sun Bao or the even more mysterious Book of Heavenly Works. The Emperor Yi Shooting Sun Bao is one of the top 5 divine weapons on the divine weapon ranking. Is it really in the headquarters of the Firely sect? Shock flashed in Lu Xiaoyu's eyes. Lu Xiaoyu did not find it strange that the Book of Heavenly Works was in the Firely sect. After all, this divine canon was the foundation of the Firely sect. However, no one had heard of the Emperor Yi Shooting Sun Bao being in this treasure mountain. That was a divine weapon that had been missing for tens of thousands of years. If not for the Emperor Yi Shooting Sun Bao's name being on the divine weapon ranking, many people would have thought that this divine weapon was damaged and disappeared. Chen Wenjun smiled somewhat embarrassedly and said, "It is just a rumor. In the past, when the treasure mountain appeared, someone once saw it shoot out an arrow and kill a golden crow descendant that flew by. That golden crow descendant was the black dragon eagle, a spirit beast comparable to the blue-robed emperor. However, it was killed by this arrow light. Hence, this rumor appeared in the Cloud Sea domain. As for whether it is true or not, there is no way to verify it." Feng Ziying did not believe it. The rumor is somewhat false. However, this Mo Chen has been very cautious along the way. She has already made 3 detours. Even if it is not the Book of Heavenly Works or the Emperor Yi Shooting Sun Bao, it is definitely a valuable treasure. Lu Xiaoyu nodded, and a fervent look flashed in his eyes. "We really did not come for nothing this time. We 2 senior brothers will definitely shine brightly in the 4 Seas Hero Gathering. At that time, even the outstanding talents of the Sun Palace will be inferior to us." At the same time, in the 5th floor of the 10,000 treasure pavilion, some people rejoiced, some people cried out miserably, and some people felt depressed after obtaining a treasure. The Silver Shark King youth carefully broke a restriction in a stone room and obtained a king-grade battle armor that contained 89 formations. He was overjoyed. "With this secret treasure, my defense will double." The silver-haired youth pondered for a moment before saying, "The restrictions in this place are a little strange. Even I cannot break through some of them, and some of them strengthen according to my strength. I should spend some time refining this secret treasure first." Xianyuan Zhantian vomited a mouthful of blood and looked at the pile of shattered combat puppets on the ground with lingering fear. He said sullenly, "This combat puppet is very powerful. It clearly only has the strength of a Grandmaster-level martial sage, but it even knows a profound martial technique. I nearly died here." Xianyuan Zhantian glanced at the treasure chest on the stone platform in front. Then, he took a step back and smashed the treasure chest with a palm strike from a distance. A poisonous fog quickly spread out. Xianyuan Zhantian had been prepared for this long ago. He sent out a palm wind and quickly scattered the poisonous fog, not staining it at all. When the poisonous fog scattered, a yellowed secret manual was revealed. Xianyuan Zhantian put on a pair of gloves and waved his hand to pull the secret manual over. There was a bloody word, "Forbidden," on the cover. Xianyuan Zhantian carefully flipped through it and revealed an expression of joy. Although it is not a profound cultivation technique or martial technique, this forbidden art can instantly increase my combat prowess tenfold. It would be great if it did not reduce my lifespan. This forbidden art was called the Wheel of Life and Death. Once it was executed, it would reduce a cultivator's lifespan by 1 year.